white people and black people in this country took a decision, we're going to live together. We can't let that go to waste now.
I've asked many of these journalists, okay, why do you say it's our fault? They say, no, you lied in the US. And we say, okay, what did we say was a lie? Give us a page, a number, an interview where we specifically lied. And people can't view that.
So you are saying there's no white genocide in South Africa?
No, we've never said that, but there is a serious problem.
No, there's a problem, but I'm saying, you're saying, no, of course there's a problem. Farm people are being killed on the farms, there's a problem.
Yeah. I look like a farmer. I can't even plant a tomato in my backyard. But the reality is, we've seen hyperinflation. We've seen between 1 and 3 million Zimbabwean people coming here.
So, they must go home.
Yeah, so...
Een nasie onder God, ons gaan die land bou. Salut! Moenie baie gaan nie. Salut! Cheers!
Guys, so I actually have been really taking my time now to try to really understand this rift between, the Expropriation Act, the ANC, and Afriforum and Solidarity. And, the way the whole narrative has been going over the weeks, it actually appears that Afriforum and Solidarity have been they actually have been scapegoated in that instance, in that they have actually now become the scapegoats that actually now received the blame for South Africa losing PEPFAR, for South Africa losing AGOA, and all of that pressure on these two institutions. And many times I'm really trying to understand what it is and what was actually really behind their rhetoric with all that. And somehow when you listen to this conversation between McKenzie and this CEO of Afriforum, I don't remember his name now anyway, but it actually appears to be, especially Afriforum, an institution that really hasn't really been able to get the ear or the audience of the ANC government over the years, or maybe other left-wing parties over the years. I really don't know, okay? I might be wrong. But when you listen to this reconciliation, because in this video, I think this is a reconciliation, an attempt to reconcile, between the Afriforum and South Africans, and McKenzie is the negotiator. And so it actually appears to me that this is actually the case. So Afriforum has not been able to get an audience from the ANC. And so, the whole anger also with the ANC, I think the ANC also doesn't want to really sit down with Afriforum and all that. So McKenzie has emerged to become that negotiator, that middleman. And I think, I see this whole issue with expropriation of land in South Africa is a really delicate problem. I really see the pain. I really feel the pain from both sides. Blacks actually look to their history with pain all the time, and how their land, especially according to the 1913 Natives Act. I think this was now even before the 1948, the Afrikaners took over the government, okay? But that whole pain of them having their land taken away from them, and that dignity that actually feels that was lost from the black people in South Africa, it always comes to the floor. I really see that a lot in many comments on YouTube, with a lot of pain, you see. But also there are these whites in South Africa who have come to really appreciate South Africa as their home, that generations have passed away, and that the new generation that have grown up with a new generation of black people really trying to really understand, negotiate, make sense of this whole thing that's really going on, in their world, especially the fact that they see South Africa now as their home. Although many of them have really left South Africa, I see that many whites especially have actually, left South Africa for what they think, they really are not able to see themselves as, as part of that future that's actually being built now in South Africa. Many of them have departed South Africa. And so in this video, McKenzie is actually trying not to lose the line of diplomacy, because I think in everything, even in a marriage, in a relationship and all that, diplomacy is key. The fact that there has to be wisdom now. In this video, you would also hear how Afriforum actually argued that one of the passion they have is because of the fact that they love South Africa, they wouldn't want to see Zimbabwe, they wouldn't want to see South Africa go Zimbabwe's route, okay? And so, I saw a video on First Post last week that President Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe was actually now giving out, I think, some billions of dollars anyway to the white farmers whose farms were taken from them, you see, and all of that. And then when you consider this whole thing with the dignity of the people. I don't know if the Zimbabweans, for example, still feel that dignity, because if you listen to the likes of Gaten McKenzie, the likes of these organizations that don't want foreigners in South Africa, the way they explain how Zimbabweans are trooping into South Africa, sometimes I wonder about this whole argument with having a dignity to the land. But I really understand, because land is something that's really close to the heart of many Africans. And when you have a land dispossessed as a history that constantly being repeated, it's really painful. I really won't argue that. And this is why I decided to create this channel, to really slowly start understanding South Africa, because we in West Africa, we never had this kind of history, we never had this kind of circumstance, and we don't know South Africa. So this is why I actually kind of like also as a middle point to educate West Africans, but also to really see South Africans from their point of view. So now with the whites and the blacks who love this country and want to make South Africa their home, this whole issue with land always comes as a problem, and that's being fed by the media, by some politicians to divide. But division has never led us anywhere, all right? So there has to be really wisdom and really sensitive, really careful approaches to really resolve this issue. And I think this is why this discussion here is really important. It might be long. I think it's about 22 minutes thereabout between Gaten McKenzie and Afriforum. And I've really tried to take my time to really, because the sound wasn't really good from when it was recorded. So I've tried to take my time to really have subtitles so that we can really understand where Afriforum is coming from and where South Africa, especially from the perspective of Gaten McKenzie, is coming from, so that we do not continue this conflagration and have a really divided South Africa. Because I think South Africa, I always say this on this channel, South Africa has so much potential, bro. If we can tap into half of what we can from the South African people. This is me, I'm a West African now speaking as a Nigerian, actually. Really proud Nigerian speaking. But the potential I see, from the circumstance of the history of South Africa, Indians are really intelligent, colors have talent, the blacks have really mad talents that actually haven't just been tapped yet. The whites actually are talented people. So we have all of these groups in a nation, bro. The force is crazy what can be achieved. But then there are these devices of division that actually comes to really continuously divide humanity. And that for me was something I would never be part of, okay? So there has to be really careful dialogue. And I think this is why I enjoy what Gaten McKenzie is doing in this video, opening the floor for dialogue. He's actually arguing that also the Patriotic Alliance will be going to the US to speak to Donald Trump, to really have a dialogue. There has to be a space for dialogue to understand. Is there white genocide in South Africa? That word is really strong. You hear it also in this video where he argues that genocide is what we saw in Rwanda. Is that what we're seeing today in South Africa? These kind of things they need dialogue so that we are all clear with where we stand and really have a really prosperous South Africa. So let's quickly listen to this reconciliation video, what I actually like to call it, between Afriforum and Gaten McKenzie, where both of them, Afriforum tries to speak to South Africa to explain their stance on what they see, and Gaten McKenzie also trying to really understand Afriforum and also bring that understanding to all of South Africa so that they may be peace.
What I want to say is, I tell you where I differ, and you can answer me.
Yes.
I think that my thing is that, number one, I think in South Africa we should be friends with China, we should be friends with America, we should be friends with Russia, we should be friends with everyone. We should put our economic interests first. That's my belief, and that's our party stance. We should be friends with, your economic situation. That's why politics exists, because of the economy. They can deny that all they like. But I believe that we should be everybody's friend. We are Mandela's children, number one. I don't believe the things I read about you in the paper. I don't believe that that's true. That what you are saying, like there's a genocide of white people. I think that's nonsense. There's no genocide of white people in this country. That's what I think, and I'll give you a chance to answer on that one.
Yeah.
I also don't believe that we as South Africans should call for AGOA, PEPFAR to be cancelled. It's going to affect jobs. It's going to affect people's lives. I also don't believe that, and I want to say myself, when it comes to the expropriation bill, I personally, let me tell you out of the deepness of my heart, I come from families that had lost land that was forcefully taken from them. District 6, And deep down in my heart, I also just want to grab land. But I understand, because I'm a businessman also, that property rights, if there's no property rights, there's no country. Now, I would love to go and take white people's land, but I understand we've moved on. I understand that things have changed. I am saying white people can't have all the land. But I'm saying, let us expropriate worst compensation where we're going to expropriate. Let's pay people market value for the land. That is what I feel. And in conclusion, I just think that, we all speak past each other at the moment. And I want to be the one guy that says, let's get together. Let's hear each other. I don't agree with the things you're saying. You might not agree with the things I'm saying, but I must hear you. Yeah. And you must listen to me. And that's what I want to say. So I want to understand, there's no genocide here. White people are not being killed. In fact, I'm a colored. Colored people are dying more than anybody in this country. My people are dying daily. As I'm speaking to you, 3 is being killed already. But still, I can't say there's a genocide with certainty. And the issue of the thing, I think the ANC have handled this land issue very incorrectly. They have tried to make it bigger than what it really is. This law that the bill, all countries have that bill. America has that bill. It's just called differently. England has that bill. Italy has that bill. It's everywhere. But I think they were trying to be clever with the way they have positioned it. And it's now backfiring. But I don't think it is how you explained it. The bill. That was where I differ with you. And then you can say your say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister. There's, of course, a lot of questions here, but let me start off. I think people should not equate the ANC with the country. If you're going to take on things that the ANC leadership does, it doesn't mean you're taking on the country. The fact is, we love this country, we are loyal to this country. We also stated categorically that as Afriforum, as an organization, we have to build a future here. Of course, we respect the right of everybody else to decide for themselves. We're also thankful for the fact that President Trump has recognized some of the problems here in the country and that he's willing to help. Okay, but then what has happened, unfortunately, when this whole issue came to the fore, the ANC did not want to do introspection. What we saw from them is that they went right ahead and decided to find some kind of scapegoat. And they did not attack what we said, and they just said it's their fault. And that is, it's easy if you are responsible for something and you want to evade that responsibility, blame somebody else. So in that regard, unfortunately, there was in terms of many media institutions, just follow that saying it's Afriforum's fault. And I've asked many of these journalists, okay, why do you say it's our fault? They say, no, you lied in the US. And we say, okay, what did we say was a lie? Give us a page, a number, an interview where we specifically lied. And people can't do that. Let me state categorically, and that has been our position since 2018, is that we believe it's in the interest of the normal citizens that we don't lose PEPFAR. And we have said that time and time again. We believe it's in the country's interest that we don't lose a goer. I think there are different views on how do we save PEPFAR. It won't help us to send a delegation to the US and say, listen people, this is just one big misunderstanding. You were lied to. What are the real problems? South Africa has decided to get involved in the international power struggle. As a country with an economy that is about 0.4% of the world economy, we know that our biggest trade partner is China, then second it is the US. So if you're in a vulnerable position like this, the loyal thing to do, if you are a patriot that are loyal to the citizens, you put their interest first. I actually wanted to say South Africa first, but then people would think I'm using the language of President Trump that says America first. But if you say that, then you don't get involved into this, because it is a reality that South Africa is being perceived by the US as anti-Western and anti-American. And we have spoken to them now. They said, no, this is not something that has just happened now. They've been seeing this for a long time, even under the Biden administration. And then what has changed now is not that Afriforum started speaking. We've been speaking since 2018. Is that there is now a president that wants to act. If you look at things that happened, for instance, there's an effort now to change the Sandton Street in Sandton to Leila Khalid. And then you have Nomvula Mokonyane saying publicly, we want to do this so that the American consulate will have to put that name on this letterhead. Those are the kind of things that angers people. If you're going to have an expropriation act, and it won't help us to now say, no, this act is not a real problem. We've also never said that there is large-scale expropriation without compensation. This act was only published on the 24th of January in the Government Gazette. But if people don't agree with us saying we're sending out the wrong message, I can say go and read section 12.3 of the Act, go and read section 19.8 of the Act, and then decide for yourselves. 12.3 says you can expropriate with no compensation, which the Deputy President Mashatile last year, October, said that is exactly the same as without compensation. And then people say, no, but there are clear grounds what you can do, when you can do it. So it's not broad. But if you read the start, it says including, but not exclusively. So you can have other reasons as well. But I think the biggest problem is 19.8. 19 and then in brackets 8. People say, don't worry, you can go to the courts. But the reality is what that section says, if your land is expropriated, but then you've lost your land, you don't have an income from that land anymore, you can start a court case within 180 days. The problem is, if you start that, if you look at the Gauteng, North Gauteng court, if there's going to be a court case that's disputed, if you are, and Afriforum has done that quite a lot, if you try to go to court now, you will only get the court date in 2028. Then that court case will take 2 years. So this will take you 5 years at the minimum to take this to court. You have to pay for your own legal fees, and you don't have an income to pay for your legal fees. And then what is the reality? Government knows that. So now they offer you perhaps 20% or let's say even 50% of the value, and you say, okay, do I have the resources to fight against the government that has taxpayers' money? If I fight, I maybe will get more money in 5 years' time. So this is an infringement on property rights.
I understand that, but really, I can tell you that as a fact. I think, let me first start with the first thing you're saying. I don't speak for the South African government. Nomvula doesn't speak for the South African government. Yeah. The South African government has a president and a spokesperson. Cabinet has a cabinet. There's a cabinet and there's a cabinet spokesperson. I'm part of cabinet, but I've got opinions that shouldn't be taken as this is what government is saying. So when people like the DSG of the ANC speaks, she gives the ANC's position. Yeah. She's not giving the position of the government. So I don't think she should be judged with the government. That's number one. Number two, the issue of this country is terrorism. To give out the message that people's farms are being taken, and it's not being taken.
Yeah.
All my white friends that has farms, I also have farms. My family has farms. But all my white friends, we bride this weekend on their farms. They walk their bare feet on their farms. I'm saying yes, crime is a problem. White people, black people, colored people do get robbed on their farms. That's a fact. That's not a government program. What I have a problem with, I think you're right when you say government should really be friends with everyone. But I do think that we need to, the narrative out there that black people are taking the land of white people in this country. I was in Zimbabwe when that happened. Because we used to have businesses in Zimbabwe. And it was Armageddon. All I'm saying is I want Afriforum to come clear out to say there's no genocide. Because a genocide is what happened in apartheid. A genocide is what happened with the Jewish people. A genocide is what happened to black people during apartheid. Yeah. There's no genocide. But in America, my kid is in America and he asked me, Dad, are they killing white people because that's what they're saying at our school? That we need to fix that perception. And I do not think the ANC really, and I'm not speaking for ANC, but I really don't think they have a policy to take white people's farms. This policy that everybody is going crazy about, I think they have brought it out wrongly. They should have explained it, but they just brought out this policy. It's like saying we have the death penalty, but we're not going to hang nobody. That's how I see it. That's the stupidity of it. You got a death penalty, but we're not going to hang anybody. So it's understandable for people to think like that. But the action on the ground, white people and black people in this country took a decision, we're going to live together. We can't let that go to waste now. And I'm glad that you have now say that you want, we should not equate what you say against the ANC, it's not the country. But you must also be clear and not say South Africa.
When this happened or became known on the 3rd of February, our first statement was to say, don't punish the people of South Africa. If you're going to punish, then punish the ANC leaders that you are angry with. And that has been our message all along. With regard to if you say it's not ANC policy to take land, then the spokespersons must portray that. But
yet, it's not a policy yet.
Yes.
Expropriation without compensation.
Yeah, and you know, if with this specific act, if some people say no, they'll never do it. But if you see somebody taking a gun and loading the gun, and that is the Expropriation Act, some say no, but he'll never shoot. He's just got a gun that's loaded, and some of his spokespeople says he's going to shoot. It would be irresponsible not to take that. With regard to, so that has been our message, and we believe if we don't solve this, irrespective of what Afriforum says, irrespective of who goes to Washington, we will have big trouble. And that is why we say be open about the crisis and address it. With regard to murders on farms, murders on farms are a reality, just as in the Cape Flats, you have murders of cuddled people, just as you have violence against women and children. But the difference here is when you have violence against women and children, it's actually pronounced as a priority crime, and there is a strategy to tackle that, even at 16 days of activism, and we are positive about that. Gary Nell, that prosecutes from our side, the most people that he prosecutes is with regard to violence against women. Just the past week, Alexi Bisos was given 100,000 rand for beating his wife and breaking her ribs. But if you support that, you're not saying violence against men is okay. If you are saying rhino poaching is a priority crime, it doesn't mean you say, well, stuff the elephants, they can be shot. If you're saying gang violence is a problem, it's a priority crime because there needs to be a specific strategy. So what we've said is that in terms of farms, they're far off. We're seeing tortures that happen, and there needs to be a specific strategy And we also need to make sure, just as everybody was angry with Penny Sparrow when she made those disgraceful remarks, she was even given a prison sentence. Why are we quiet when Obakeng Ramabodu last year said in just across the road here at the Tshwane Metro Council, I want to Muraboer, or I want to see Afrikaner blood. The same with Julius Malema saying kill the Boer. So I'm not saying the country should be held responsible for what those individuals
Yes.
said. But what I'm saying, it's a real problem if the Human Rights Commission, no, it's not a problem if the Human Rights Commission, the prosecuting authority, everybody takes on Penny Sparrow. The problem is the Human Rights Commission was quiet with regard to Mr. Ramabodu. There was a complaint laid at the police, nothing happened. President Ramaphosa said nothing. So the problem is here, you have a specific kind of crime. These things are happening, the government is quiet, so we are saying make it a priority crime, but then you have the president going to the US and saying there's no such a thing as farm workers. But with regard to the white genocide thing, that we've actually now, 4 media institutions wrote this. We've won every time they had to apologize. The latest one is the Sunday World. But despite that, people continue placing those false words into our mouth.
I just have a question. There's a man, his name was Black Man in Goro. Black Man in Goro. He said colored people are drunkards.
Yeah.
Colored people should, they just stay dogs. And there's a mayor in Welkom from the ANC, both are from the ANC. They said colored people should just be beaten because we are drunkards.
Yeah.
I can't say it's the ANC government saying that, it's an individual. Yeah? So here's my question to you. So you are saying there's no white genocide in South Africa?
No, we've never said that, but there is a serious problem.
No, there's a problem, but I'm saying, you're saying, no, of course there's a problem. Farm people are being killed on the farms, there's a problem.
Yeah.
But you're saying there's no white genocide?
No, genocide is what we saw in Rwanda.
Yes, that is my problem.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you are man enough to say there's no genocide, but there's a problem on the farms.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? There's a problem on the farm. And I can tell you, colored farmers are also being killed, and you can show you records. Number one, Dylan. People are going to agree with you.
Yeah.
We must not be arrogant. We must listen to the other views, and we must try to convince them to say, by argument, not by ignoring them, or by saying, I will not speak to this, or Gaiten is a gatcraper of America. Listen, let me tell you something off the bat. All my friends knew before all this thing, I love Donald Trump. I love that man. Everybody in the PA knows I love Donald Trump. Now all of a sudden, I must not love Donald Trump. I love Donald Trump since the days of his reality show. All my friends know that. But even the people that I love my partner, but I differ with her. That doesn't mean you can't differ with people. If I differ with my partner, it doesn't mean I stop loving her. I stop loving her. So I want to say that we must differ. We must differ.
And maybe I should say that in English. We have extended the hand of friendship to all cultural communities in this country. Those that are trying to create us or portray us as a scapegoat, they are quiet about the fact that we have a cultural agreement with various traditional communities, the Barlong Busaleka, the Amabele community. We have indigenous goat stud agricultural projects there, winter wheat, vegetables. All those kinds, we assisted and paid the legal fees for the Mkukumate community to build the school. These are now 95% of people here are black people. So we have not changed our tune. We want to build this country, as the minister said. We extend the hand of friendship to all people. But it's exactly because we are loyal that we don't want this country to go the Zimbabwean route. We've seen in Zimbabwe, it's not just landowners that have suffered. I don't have land. I might look like a farmer. I can't even plant a tomato in my backyard. But the reality is, we've seen hyperinflation. We've seen between 1 and 3 million Zimbabwean people coming here.
And they must go home.
Yeah, so that is another debate.
We'll talk about that.
But the problem is, if we are not going to take this on, if we fight, and we're going to fight hard against what the ANC is doing against this country, it's out of loyalty to the country, and we want to stop a disaster. And people can blame us that we are the cause of this. We know what the truth is. The ANC is the root cause of what the problems we are seeing.
100%. I think I just want to say with the Bella Act, the president did call myself, the DA, and the Freedom Front Plus, and we negotiated. I want to be, maybe people don't want to tell you the truth. I was in Russia when the president called me. We met. He had a clearinghouse where Kenny Kunene, Helen Zelle, and them are sitting there. They were negotiating. It was very brave of him to take it out. But I've learned one thing. You can't always get all that you want. Then that's not a negotiation. We win some, we lose some. Bella, we've lost. And we must, I don't want it to come across as just, we must get everything we want.
Yeah.
And because it's a give and take. We wanted Bella not to be implemented in its form, but negotiations, and people must be honest about it. We've lost that one. There's some that we do win, there's some that we think in the government of national unity. As a parting shot, because we have to go, I just want to say to you that the PA, we love this country, the Patriotic Alliance. We also going to have a delegation, because I heard the DA is going to America. Everybody see we will see real people when we get there. We have friends. The Patriotic Alliance leadership will go to America to save the jobs, to save AGOA, to save PEPFAR. And Donald Trump can't tell us what to do. 100%. That is a negotiation.
Yeah.
We must tell him, no, we don't agree with that. We don't agree with it. Can't we do this? India is friends with America and is part of BRICS. We can do the same. We don't need to be places like Iran. They do nothing for this country. We don't need us to make enemies because of Iran. This is my belief. So I'm saying that. Baie dankie dat julle gekom het.
Ja, dankie
Kom ons
vir
bou
die
die land. Ons is een nasie onder God. Ons gaan die land bou. Salut. Moenie baie dra nie. Salut. Cheers, cheers.